So from the White House, the president saying that data and the governors will lead decisions on how to reopen the country. Well, the Maryland governor says based on data right now, it would be the worst possible time to lift his lockdown order. Republican Governor Larry Hogan with me now, also chair of the National Governors Association. Nice to see you again, Governor. You get a lot of exposure. You got a lot of input from all the other 49 governors across the country. Well, what is the status in your state as of today where you're not even cracking the door open for the people living there?
Well, first of all, we had a great call with the president yesterday, and I think most of the governors were really encouraged to see the outline that the administration laid out. And in the president's own recommendations, he says that states, he said the states ought to make their own decisions based on the facts on the ground in those individual states, and that all the states are in different phases in this curve. The president's plan says that no one should consider beginning to start any of the phase one actions until they have 14 straight days of declining numbers with respect to their hospitalizations and deaths and ICUs. We have increasing numbers in every one of those categories because we're in one of the emerging hotspots here in the Washington-Baltimore corridor, and so many states either aren't being impacted or they're starting to get better. We were actually a couple of weeks behind New York and New Orleans and some of those other areas. So according to the president's own team and the president's own report, we're not in a position yet to get started.
Okay, so
we've been working for weeks on a reopening plan.
Yeah, just so I got it correctly here, Mike DeWine's coming up in a couple minutes, and he's got an idea to open Ohio for business on the 1st of May, and we're hearing that from Michigan today as well. But you're saying you need 14 days of a flattening before you can move forward with a green light for your state.
Well, that's what the federal plan calls for. But we've been working for weeks about the reopening plan. We have a very detailed plan. We're going to unveil some things next week. But right now we have climbing numbers. We're watching them every single day. I'm a lifelong small business guy. There's nothing more important to me than getting our economy back, getting people to work. We also have to make sure, and we're following the advice from our federal partners on making sure that we've got things flattening out and going down rather than going up.
Okay, so what do you think of then the White House plan that was announced last night? The 3 phases?
I think it's a pretty good plan. Yeah, I like the phasing. I like the fact that the president has said that states are in different places. I think most of the governors were pleased with it. It sort of closely tracks a lot of what's in our plan. I think we have a little more detail on and a little more nuances, but on the first phasing of how you look at when to start, it was very similar to the kinds of things that our doctors and businessmen and the folks at our scientists, very, very similar. And some of the folks that are on the president's committee are on our advisory committee here in Maryland as well. And so we were pleased with the recommendations that the president came out with.
Okay, last point here. I'm hearing about a possible protest in Annapolis tomorrow in the state capitol. Do you have any visibility on that, as we say?
Yeah, I think there are protests planned for capitals across the country. And look, I understand the frustration. I'm as frustrated as anybody. I want to get businesses open yesterday. But as the president pointed out yesterday, a lot of these folks are big supporters of the president. His own plan says we shouldn't open up yet in our state or in some of the hot spots. Washington area, we doubled over the past week. And so as soon as we can, we're going to get open safely. But I understand everybody's right to protest, and I understand their frustrations.
Yeah. Larry Hogan, thank you. We'll stay in touch next week and see if we make progress. All right, Larry Hogan, the Republican governor there in Maryland. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bill.